6:30, Sawyer County Public Works Committee meeting to order. We have Ms. Helen Dennis on the phone. And with Mark, myself, we have a quorum. We have Chairman Tweet Schuman here, Carol, Tom, and Mr. Gary Gephardt, and Cliff still got 4 minutes here. So, is anybody for public comment? Okay, minutes of the Public Works of July 8th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dennis, second by Mr. Helwig to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sawyer. All right, I think Derek's on his way in. While
He's here. He's on.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, thank you. Talk to us, Derek.
Airport report. I had a wonderful conversation with Tom Hoff about all sorts of things. Airport here just a couple days ago. I guess airport's still here. We've been keeping busy. Today was no exception. Lots of stuff going on. Tim's been doing a good job through the face of adversity, I'd say, with our lawnmower. We've been having some issues with it, but his LTE fella that does everything, John, does a really good job, and I've gotten a lot of compliments about how nice the grass looks at the airport this year.
Good.
Any questions on the report? There's a couple things in there that we can certainly talk about if anyone in the committee wants to.
What do you want to talk about on the report, please?
Here now, I'm not looking at it on the screen. Let me pull it up here real quick. Our spring project is looking like everything's going to go ahead as planned. We've been having some issues here this summer because that asphalt on the north end of the apron is really deteriorating, and that's why it's getting replaced in the spring. But we've had a complaint come in because there's not supposed to be loose material like rocks and gravel and stuff out there, and there has been. So Tim helped work with highway, I think, a little bit, and we got a sweeper out there to sweep, and it made a big difference. We pulled a lot of material off of the ramp, and I think more than anything, it's trying to stay on it. You know, we haven't done anything like that before in the past. Usually we just hand pick the best we can. But when there's over 1.3 million square feet of pavement, it's really hard to make sure it's all clean all the time. So Tim and I talked a little bit and trying to figure out what the best way to make sure that we're keeping all of that clear all the time is. And the sweeper worked really well. We won't have as many issues coming up once those pavements all get redone. And part of the project in the spring is also to seal the concrete. Sorry, I got a jet leaving. Sealing the concrete joints and making sure that there's no loose material popping up out of the concrete. That'll really help us out a lot. So we don't have to worry about rocks and stuff out there. Because anything out there is bad for airplanes and tires. A little bit different than just running over a rock with your car, so to speak.
Well, we're going to have to sweep it.
Well, we've never really done it before. You know, we've always I've gone out there and we've got 2-3 individuals, you know, my Hayward Aviation staff with the FBO, Cliff Korn, president of the Hangars Association. I think he may even be here or there. You know, we go up and walk. He goes up and walks up and down all the time. He brings a radio with him, and you know, it's kind of a community effort. If you ever see something, you try to say something. And in the spring of the year, it's really hard because ospreys and stuff like that. You wouldn't believe how many times I've pulled, you know, sticks off of the runway. You know, in the spring of the season when they're building their nests. It's a daily thing. 365 days a year. That's why it's nice that there's people that are at the airport every day. So pavements can get checked every single day. So there's nothing out there that airplanes can hit.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions regarding his report?
I can, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Hey, Derek, this is Tweed. Derek,
Yep.
with the new airport agreement that we have in place now, are you gonna hit the new budgeted numbers that the county had set?
Well, I'd like to think so. I know that I could tell you from the FBO standpoint, our year-to-date numbers are doing well. It's a little concerning from an FBO side of things because we've lost a lot of our really good customers. One family like the Johnson family has not been flying in and out. The Johnsons and what they've done, they helped at least keep my family's business going for about 30 years. And we haven't had them at all this year because of COVID. They've closed up shop. But we've gained a lot of customers and a lot of people that are utilizing the airport that never have before in the past. And year to date, our numbers are doing well in comparison to recent years. A lot of the revenue sharing things like car rentals and equipment. We purchased new equipment at the FBO, including a ground power unit, lav cart, and we kind of built into the budget revenue sharing on those pieces of equipment. And I'd like to think that, I've got 4 rental cars and I've hardly seen them for the last 2 months. So I don't know exactly what the July numbers are, but I'm pretty confident we're in a pretty good position with what we've done for sales wise. So I guess I'd have to look at the airport budget and where we're at year to date with what's been paid in, but July is always the biggest month of the year. So I'd like to think that what was budgeted for, we should get close to that.
Good, thank you, Derek.
Give us an update on the terminal building, please.
Well, we've been going back and forth on it. It's been kind of part of the discussions all along when we were doing our management, FBO operating agreement, trying to figure out how we're going to handle things with the building. It was discussed in our contracts that any remodeling inside of the terminal building is going to be on the lessee, me, Hayward Aviation. We went through and we worked with an interior design lady. We developed a layout plan that we liked, and we went out in the time that we talked to you, since we talked to you last 2 months ago, talking with contractors about their availability, and that is certainly a different thing than what it is when you actually go out and get quotes from contractors. I think that some of the things that we were hoping to be able to pull off with what we were setting for a budget for ourselves for the project are not going to be possible right now. And I guess, we still want to, emphasize our desire to make the terminal building look like a nice place, for our business, for operations. But some of the things that are required when you start changing the layout of the building and some of the code requirements at this time are probably going to be out of our financial capabilities.
Okay. So you're gonna downscale a little bit, or what are you gonna do?
That's kind of the plan at this point in time. We've worked with numerous contractors, and the building presents some challenges when it comes to code requirements, because anytime we, our plan is, I can tell you right now, is to kind of redo floors and wall coverings, furniture and fixtures, the things that are visible, because there's a lot of dated stuff here. The carpets, the floors aren't in very good condition. Doing kind of a light, without changing the bathrooms and the layouts, potentially trying to bring them up to speed a little bit as far as a visual appearance and not so much a functionality.
Okay. So you're gonna have to redesign how you want it done and bring it back to the committee?
Well, I'm not sure. I did talk with Tom Hoff with that. That was one of the things we talked about at length just the other day. And I'm not sure if, since we're not, altering any parts of the terminal building, and we're not moving walls and reconfiguring bathrooms. I guess, I don't know if that requires board approval per the FPO operating agreement. I think the language is kind of vague how it's written. It says that the county has the authority. Of course, it's the county's building, but I guess Tom might be able to pick up for a second and see what his thoughts are on the matter.
Yeah, in the agreement, there is language that talks about you need to have all necessary permits, including but not limited to building permits, blah, blah, blah. So as we discussed in a previous committee meeting here, that does give the committee a little bit of discretion on what you consider a necessary approval. You know, we talked about during our negotiations with them, you know, not to get into interior decorating and picking colors and this and that, but you know, it is your building, so you do have some say, so you can exercise some discretion on how you want that approval to look.
But Derek, I'm sure that you want to bring it to the committee just as a good working relationship to keep everybody abreast of what's going on.
And I don't think at this point in time, we're probably planning on doing anything during this month anyways. Not really. One of the biggest difficulties with altering the building significantly is we don't have anywhere to operate while we're under construction. And, you know, being homeless essentially with nowhere to operate our business is, you know, when they're doing significant types of work, you know, you can plan around a day, but, you know, planning around 10 weeks is a different story.
So maybe a good time to remodel would be in the wintertime, perhaps.
And I think that's kind of what my partner and Todd and myself have discussed. You know, as things start to slow down this fall, we'll be in a little better position too, because we'll have a full summer underneath our belt to really, you know, when we start talking about floors and all these different things, everyone knows things get expensive, and I don't want to make mistakes because we jumped the gun on materials and trying to get things done quicker. I've been telling folks that change is coming and it's going to happen, but certainly not in the next month. So I can put something together for our next meeting that kind of emphasizes the things that we're going to be looking at changing in the terminal building, what they're going to look like, and try to get a board approval on maybe that document or the idea of us doing the things in the document.
Yeah, the committee would like to just be abreast of what's going on, so just keep us abreast, which is fine, and I thank you. Does anybody in the committee have questions for Derek? Hearing none, Derek, or anything else you want to add?
I really don't. No, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. You have a good evening. Thanks for all you do. Wait a minute.
Helen has her hand up.
We got a question, Derek.
Okay.
Ms. Dennis?
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you. We're good. Thank you, Derek.
You betcha.
Moving on to Highway Commissioner's report. Gary, please.
Everyone's got the report. Just a few updates. Line 1 on the mowing. We had to park some of those mowers Monday. We had all 4 of them parked. Shortage with staff. Part of the problem also, besides staff, is one of our brand new mower, which we just got, and a brand new rental, which we rent every year for build the state. Both broke down. 2 brand new mowers. So they were both taken back to the manufacturer, to the distributor, dealership to be worked on. So that's part of our problem. Staffing's a big part, but machines let us down too when we had the staff to put them in there. We are going to start paving next Monday on County Road B. It's 4.6 miles. And then after that, we're going to be doing a section of County Road D from Victory Heights up to Thoroughfare.
Gary, does Sawyer County doing the paving or is Monitor?
We're doing the paving. Yeah. And then the right of way for the County Road E Bridge. So I'm going to be doing all the right of way acquisition. I'm coming out of semi-retirement. I haven't done it in several years, but I've got all the qualifications for it, the certification. So I figured I'd do that. Well, there's 4 record owners and there's 2 partial release mortgages and 2 conveyance of rights. So all that paperwork went out last Wednesday and Thursday. And so I'm just kind of in a waiting period right now to receive back. And that's based on the $45,000 that we established for the easements. And like I said, we were talking about permanent limit easements of 0.03 acres, 0.04 acres, 0.07, not a lot of acreage. And that's about all I have unless anyone else has any questions. As far as tweet, I know you're really concerned about it. I really don't think it's going to go up this year. I really don't. I don't think it would be in the best interest of Sawyer County to begin with because of where the contractors are with their schedules. If we do somehow, if all of a sudden within a week everyone sends me their info back and I get the right of way certified, I still don't think it's a, look where we're at right now. We're August 12th. And so we're just going to have to prepare ourselves for a 1-lane bridge until next year. It's going to present us some challenges at the highway department. I think what we're trying to do right now is look at the possibility of getting just a small plow to mount on the front of one of our pickup trucks, because we had a private contractor doing it last year, and that was at the tail end of the year, which we didn't have much of a winter. Very expensive proposition. You would pay for the plow for easily.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't. It's posted. We can't get our plow trucks up over it. That's a 10-ton posting. So
Yes.
I'm curious, what's this red masking guidelines?
that's from the public health officer. We have 3 levels of masking. We have a green, the yellow, and a red. And when we started to have an uptick, Julia Lyons, our public health officer, on July 31st issued that basically it's very similar to what we were under initially, and that's the masking indoors, outside. If you can't keep 6 feet of separation, you mask. So it really hasn't had a lot of impact on highway. We had 3 to 4 guys that were masking through the whole thing to begin with. So when it went in effect on July 31st, we mask in the morning, quarters of the day, and then the crew's out. You know, when the only people left at the office are office staff. We're working in our offices with the doors closed. Tim Hagberg has installed a glass, and she's got a little opening for documents, and her door is closed. So and then the shop is the same way. If they're working out in the shop and the shop mechanic is alone, he's fine. If there's another individual out there, even if they're 50 feet apart, they both mask. So it really, it's not that big of a deal for us. I mean,
Yeah, I understand.
we're handling it, and very few complaints. Now, as far as compliance, I can't be everywhere. The people around me, they have their mask on, you know.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course.
Shop foreman still doing okay?
Yeah, and just update on we hired the buildings and grounds, parts building and grounds person. He's working out very well. Very well. We just have to get him some time driving truck, and he's probably gonna have to go for some licensing to get a ability to tow a trailer, haul equipment. But other than that, he's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of confidence.
So he'll be the one plowing like in the city in the winter time?
That's what our hope is. Yes.
Yes.
Gary, if the California Avenue were to go, with our 5th Street swap, would the highway department play any role in the construction of that road? And if it did, would it save us any money? Or maybe you don't have time?
Well, right now we're so short staffed. I couldn't see us even having the time to do it. But our equipment we're not really set up for that type of construction. You know, we have a little dozer and I don't know. I'd have to see what it all entailed, but my first inclination would be to say, no, you'd be better off. You know,
We did save some money though, right? When you put those culverts in yourself and with your crew versus bidding it out, wasn't?
no, we
I remember you
had
saying that or
Amtrak
not?
construction to do the ones out on B. We did the site prep for the Ojibwa ambulance garage.
What about on T? Didn't you replace one with your team out on T?
Yeah, we did with T. Yeah. And after we did the one on T, we decided to have Manchuck do the one on B. We still assembled both of them, Tweed.
Okay.
We assembled the one on B, but it's just, you know, if you could have seen the operation they have two huge hose. They were able, we couldn't even have lifted the culvert. It was nip and tuck when we pulled that one down to Zawatowski's and tracked it down the road. I got video of it. Probably something we shouldn't have been doing, but of course we got stubborn people working for me. Oh, we can do it, Gary. So that's what ended up happening. But a lot of times we're biting off more than we can chew.
So California Avenue is nothing you want to play with.
I'd have to look at it, but like I said, right now I'd say no, but we could take a look at it and see. But you know, we got in a situation with the Ojibwa ambulance garage, and we said we could do that, and we didn't get it done, and there was a lot of pressures on us, and we had stuff, other commitments we had to do, and that was a really in the end it turned out. I mean, it turned into a 2-year project, but it was tough.
Gotcha.
Right next to a wetland over here, Gary.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love working around those, Tom.
Get a second shot at a wetland.
I've had so many shots at those. I got such a good relationship with them over wetlands, so, you know. I would take a look at it, no tweet. We could look at it.
Good.
We have a new road foreman now, and you can see what his thoughts are on it.
So we
Thank you,
can,
Mr. Chairman.
2020 fund balance. June. Anything that stands out we need to know?
No. Blowing money. I can't tell you where I mean, as far as budgeting where we're at, you know, we just finished our first job on H, and I don't have all the numbers in yet, because we had some private contractors we had to use for trucking because of the distance, but, you know, we did agree to cut one project out, and we're actually now looking at Tom possibly cutting a second project out, because we're just fearful of the project we're starting Monday, that it's gonna be more than more than what I had budgeted. I had thought it was a 28-foot surface, and I just found out it's 30 feet. It doesn't seem like 2 feet more, but you take that by 4.6 miles.
it's up.
That's an argument for the bike people, when they say, hey, Commissioner, can you put a bike path on the side of the road? It's expensive, so I mean, just
Oh, I know.
just going from 28 to 30 increases my costs. So we're gonna take a wait and see, get our numbers in, and if we can, but we already cut the north project on E, one that goes by LCO development. We cut that one. The other project we may cut will be K North. So from the intersection of B and K north to 77. That's a 1.7 mile stretch.
Every time you cut, that hurts too, because it puts us that farther behind, but there's nothing we can do about it.
I know, but if you don't have the money, I mean,
It is what it is.
we had some problems last year. We ran over, the year before we ran over, and I've sat with Tom and Mike, and I've said this before, probably better than any of the other department heads. I have a really good handle on the the numbers of the county and the budgeting and all, and I could sit there and I think I'd be derelict in my duties if we just pushed forward as much as I know the whole thing, Ron.
I know.
We have 229 miles of road and we're not hitting our cycle, but you gotta live within your budget.
I'm grateful that you do.
Well, I'm not, haven't been. I'm hoping it'll happen this year. But prior to that, if you guys remember, we had a couple of really good years at highway, but we had a lot of carryover, which, you know, our stuff, our good and our bad follows us. So if we have a bad year, it'll follow us. If we have a good year, then we get to roll that into the next year. It isn't like the county manager clears out wipes the slate clean with us. That's a good and bad. So nothing really stand out in here. And as far as overtime, is that our next item? Yeah, we're still doing good on overtime. We've got 12,800 through July, and you could see we spent that already by March last year, so we're doing pretty good. In comparison, last year we had 8,000 overtime. This year we had 47.75. And that overtime, that's related to our could be our culvert operations. If we get out on a day and we have to work later, or our blacktopping. This would be related to our blacktopping. And we've been really lucky on rains too. We really dodged some bullets. We had some high water situation on County Road H. I guess I should mention, we had some issues on Tower Road. You guys are aware we had the memorandum with town of Radisson where we accept maintenance responsibilities. So we had someone from maintenance went up to, I think, cut the lawn at the tower or something, and they couldn't get through with a truck and a trailer. So Brad and I went up there and looked at it, and we did have some washing. I don't know if anyone's been down that road. As you start to go around you've got a straight stretch, and then you go around a couple curves as you're going up the last curve. That hill washed all the way out. So we went into it we were able to pull in some of the stuff that had washed away and reclaim it. And we put some more gravel on. And we had a couple other little areas, but
Meter reader will be up there tomorrow. So.
yeah, they should be fine.
Anything else for Gary? Thank you.
I had a question.
Yes.
This is Susie. Gary, when determining what projects to cut out, how do you determine which ones you're cutting out?
I cut out E because I was holding that for next year for a cost cooperative agreement with the LCO.
Mm-hmm.
They had scheduled that for both roads this year, but then I spoke, someone from BIA contacted me and said there were no monies. So we got it scheduled for next year. And then K North was cut because of all the roads, it's probably in the best condition of the projects that were slated for this year.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Good question, Susan. All right. Thank you.
I'd like Gary,
Yes.
no money for what project? The one on E?
We're gonna do the two on E.
And Cameron from BIA said that,
Well, the total cost share was gonna be 337,000, and the total budget they got was 367,000 to run the whole thing. So you can see where the problem would be, and they had already had commitments.
oh, I
So
see.
367 was the total
Yeah.
that they get, and we were at 337 for the cost share. So, and I spoke with you briefly. I made the decision that south project, the one from Victory Heights, we're just gonna wedge overlay that. Even though it's not, we gotta get something done. That's the worst section of road.
Right.
And then the one further up from Wilkie out to K, that's where we'll do a cost agreement next year. Hopefully by getting, I thought I had done it early enough when I contacted the tribe, but I must not have, so now we're kind of
Okay.
I think we got our foot in the door at the right time, so.
Well, this Nita you're talking about, we kind of gave her some more duties too, and she's gonna be involved more with the roads and BIA, so she'll be the one you go to.
And I've got a great relationship with BIA. Cameron, he's the one that you touch with me.
Okay.
Thank you. Move on to maintenance department report, we have that. Mr. Hagberg, are you there?
I don't believe so.
You have any questions on the maintenance report? We'll refer them to Mr. Huff. Go ahead, Mr. No, you got that question.
How's it going?
Sweet.
Anything that we need to know about other than what's on his report?
No, they have been putting in the plexiglass, trying to get us ready to, open up some offices and safely. They've been doing some not renovation, but taking off the wallpaper in the lobby area. If you haven't been through there lately, there's a mural that was under the wallpaper that we're going to try and preserve. I think they scrubbed it up and it looks pretty nice now, so they're going to be painting around that. And so if you haven't seen that yet, wander down the lobby and
Any other questions for Mr. Huff regarding maintenance? Hearing none, number 9, 2021 budget discussion.
Yeah, for review, we've got the budgets in from the departments. Mike is compiling the information to see how bad things look so far this year. So this is the first step in the process, and we've been starting to meet with departments to go over their individual budgets. Obviously, some departments are smaller than others, like maintenance, pretty straightforward. The airport, the county contribution is pretty straightforward. Highway obviously is one of the large departments that's, got one of the more complicated budgets and also, one of the higher priorities with the transportation system here in Sawyer County. So, we always look at highway, Sheriff's Department, obviously, and Health and Human Services are the three that are not only high priorities for the county, but also spend a lot of tax dollars to provide those services. So we'll be meeting with Gary and staff soon, and all the other departments as well. So in September, we'll have a much better idea where we're at. We're obviously over budget at this point, so there will have to be some reductions in areas. We're also talking in the finance committee tomorrow about issuing debt for capital items, and like we have not done in the past. We have like for buildings, but not for those capital items. So we've been in discussions with not only finance but the board about moving some of those capital items out of the operating budget into a capital bonding situation, either bonds or loans, or the pool. To move some of those costs outside the levy limits. So that creates more room, more operating room, but it also increases taxes. So we're kind of going over with what finance committee is comfortable with, and obviously the board as well. So that's kind of where we're at this point.
Thank you. Yes.
We gonna get into that, any COVID need to help us out?
Yeah, we do have different pots of money that was allocated from the Fed programs down to the state, and then they made several allocations. The general fund has an allocation. Health and Human Services, they got like 5 different buckets of different things like contact tracing, testing. There's 5 different things that they've gotten money for. Sharing some of that with LCO on the contact tracing side. There's a lot of cooperation going on there as far as how that gets done, especially with the uptick in cases. We had another 7 or 8 today, I believe. So we're heading in the wrong direction as far as number of cases goes, which just magnifies the amount of work that needs to be done for contact tracing and the like. So you know, right now, it's really hard to say and hard to project how long this is going to last, what it's going to mean. You know, is there going to be any more dollars allocated to municipalities and governments? You know, that fourth package that has been stalled at the federal level was supposed to have some money in it to help us with revenue losses that we're experiencing, and that seems to be stalled at the federal level currently, so we're not really expecting anything there. So a lot of ifs right now. I mean, budgets are hard to begin with, and then you add all of these unknowns, it makes it difficult to predict accurately what's going to happen next year.
So what is that now for COVID cases?
I think we're around 85-ish.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I've missed them
Yeah, if you missed the last couple of days, you missed
a
some.
lot.
Yeah.
We're about doubling.
Yeah, we doubled in the last couple of weeks from what we were initially. The first 2-3 months.
Maybe you can't answer, is it people that are coming in the area or people that have been here? But if you can't answer, that's okay.
Well, yeah, and we don't get that information. You know, public health does, obviously, and you know, and they're concentrating on the education effort. You know, the masking, getting people and businesses to start realizing that that's a good thing to do. You know, it gets very political, and you know, public health is not into politics; they're just into health, and so it's all about just the masking and what that means and the science behind it and all that. That is people polarized. But
I can't remember what I was gonna say. Typical.
Yes.
I was gonna mention, Tom hit on the budget, some highway, we got kind of like a double whammy on the highway, and I'm sure Tom knocked over when he saw our budget, and I did it, I sent it out 5 minutes before I was going home for the day. I had it timed perfectly. But we started out the year with $200,000 in the hole, or, you know, cut. Plus we have a bridge replacement that our share is $128,000. Okay. Now, so right off the bat, we're $328,000 more than last year. And it ended up being like 400,000. I think it was another 67 or something there. But on the possible right side of it, and this is a, you know, it's possible, a good possibility, and that is the tribe has passed a resolution supporting that bridge on County Road Economy River, and also has agreed to place that into the queue for their funding. So they have a funding mechanism where they can take, so this has already been approved for federal state funds. Sawyer County's 128,000, that's our 20% share. The tribe would put that 128 into theirs. So they, you know, when it's all said and done, it's possible we could get $128,000. And it doesn't impact our local tribe one bit. It's a nationwide bridge program. It's separate from the roads program. So that's, it's something we could look at. I mean, don't spend the money, but it looks pretty good. I mean, if I was a betting man, we went through it on the bridge at the landing, and it worked out quite well. That was a lot larger project.
Hey, Tom, I know that they can't put out too much information on the COVID, but is there any more, like, where they say where they've been to get them? I mean, so that the public, you know, doesn't want to go into certain areas, you know?
well, yeah, public health has been working closely with, you know, the businesses that end up with positive cases. You may have noticed that there are some restaurants now voluntarily closing that have had employees with positive cases. So those are you know, being publicly announced, but it's difficult to, you know, short of that, to identify places and whatnot, especially if it's community spread. You know, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of positive cases, but they may not be in a certain spot or area. And other times there's like a party or something,
right,
and there's a lot of infection. And so those, you know, they do the contact tracing there. I don't know that they can name businesses for that. we'll have to have Julie. You can ask that on Thursday. Julie is going to give another presentation. She did last night at Health and Human Services, and she'll do that again for the full county board. We're also doing some more work on not only the website, but we've got a personnel that's helping update the Facebook feed to get more information out more timely. And if you go to the DHS website, the state website, there you can get information by county, and you can get drilled down to census tract, which is not, it's like, what, 4 or 5 census tracts in the county, like Hayward, different areas. And that will tell you the number of cases in those larger areas, but not too specific. So that information will come out to you on Thursday as well, but it's also on the website.
I've been asked a couple people. So.
Yeah, it's been real difficult, especially in the last couple of weeks as things have just taken off to keep up with all the communications, which is probably brought in another person. It's actually a volunteer, but she's got experience in media activities, so that'll be helpful. We've got Colson and that crew working on the website, updating it, making it a little bit easier to navigate to get that kind of information. So hopefully that'll be an improvement that you'll see. So we're working on a couple of those things. So we've tried to take some of that stuff out of public health because they were getting bogged down, and getting some other people on those things that can be done without a public health person or nurse.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions? Other matters for discussion only? Number 12 is closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating an exchange of public property and other public business related to the Clear County Courtroom Public Works Project and other